Let's see here. I really don't think I really need to do a face cam, honestly. Yeah, I don't need to do a face cam. All right, so I probably should do a face cam, but honestly, I honestly just don't care for a face cam, if anything. Um, but let's go ahead and let's talk Nintendo, shall we? All right, so I've been getting rumors, speculations, and almost everything in the book about how Nintendo is selling video games for physical video games, such as Mario Kart World, for $90, and the digital is like 80. So technically speaking, there's a reason, probably a good reason behind that. Because if you go and try to basically, I want to say, go get a Switch 2. Has anybody ever realized that the Switch and the Switch 2 had total different price tags? Let me be real with you. So the Switch itself, let's be real about this. The Switch itself, back when the Switch first came out, it was like $300, darn near 400 if you really think about it. Um, and then later on down the line, I've seen a couple of Switches that aren't even that much. But then there was the Switch Lite, which was $200. Go figure, right? Go figure. Um, Remember that these systems were literally always at least about $300 to $400. The Switch 2 now is literally sitting $400 to $500. We're still paying cheaper than what we do of Xbox and PlayStation. Kind of crazy, right? Gaming on the go. Crazy, right? Not only that, but the thing about it is, so if I am looking at things completely correctly here, so the Nintendo Switch, the Switch 2 at least, the Switch 2 plus the Mario Kart World bundle is literally $500. Literally 500 and some change after taxes. When you literally think about it, sure, Japan gets it cheaper. It's their people. They created this mainly for their people. We just got added to it because, we wanted a piece of the action, plus we're friends and stuff like that, yada, yada, yada. I honestly don't want to get into the politics situation. I honestly just don't really give a rat's ass for the politics situation. That's, I'm pretty sure you people are like, well, who did you vote for and all this other I don't want to talk about voting. I don't. I know. Because it literally doesn't matter who you voted for. Either way, everything was set up to where Trump was going to get in office. We all knew this from the gate. If you was there, if you know, you know. Now, I know that part in this video is really going to come off to offend a lot of people, but fight me. Fight me. Um, Anywho, so literally the Switch 2 bundle with the Mario Kart World is literally like 500 and some change after taxes. Then you have it for like 450 something dollars, possibly 460 to 70 if you're adding taxes. So that's just the Switch 2 itself. Go figure, right? The only thing that I disliked about it was, say for instance, like, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, you have to buy an upgrade pass, an upgrade thing in order for you to play it on the Switch 2. That's the only thing that I possibly didn't dislike. Everything else was fine. Everything else was fine in my book. They're trying new things. The camera situation, sure, it was butt cheeks. It was literally butt cheeks. But guess what? I didn't care. They're trying something. If anybody knew Nintendo back when the Wii U first came out, what was the one feature that the Wii U was possibly able to do? Face cam and streaming on a pad, on a system. So when you take a look at the Switch 2 now, they really re-innovated it, literally, because automatically you couldn't do none of this with the Switch. You couldn't stream with the Switch. I mean, you could, but you have to buy pieces in order for you to do it. You have to have a PC in order for you to do it. I think. Maybe. Maybe not. I think it's just a small piece that you have to have in order to plug into your TV. One plugs into the Switch, and then one plugs into your internet. And then you should be able to stream it from there. But the thing is, you would still need a PC or some sort, like a laptop mainly. You wouldn't even need an all-powerful PC. You just need a laptop in order to be able to run whatever system needs to be ran in order for you to basically stream your Switch, and so on and so forth. From the looks of it, they just opened the way to where you don't have to do that anymore. Because when I looked at the docking system already has things that the first Switch dock system didn't even have. If anyone looked at it correctly, when they opened the back of that mug, when you seen the back of it, you saw the USB, the HDMI, the Type-C, and you saw a Ethernet slot. You literally, and I mean literally, have the power to start streaming from your console again. And this time you're able to do. Now, they couldn't add the camera into the system. Lord knows, I don't know why. Maybe the camera was just too much to fit up in there. So they did it separately. Still, smart, bold move. Smart and bold move in my book. Now, as I said before, the resolution of it all and everything else, like when people game sharing and stuff like that, the resolution for it is garbage. Don't get me wrong, it's garbage. But once they receive that feedback that it's garbage, they're going to go and work on it, which is already being done. Because once they literally went live with this ish and people seen that, the comments were flooding like, ooh, that looks garbage. Ooh, that's, there was a bunch of, all over that ish. It's understandable. And I'm hoping that they do go back and take a look at it and, re-implement on some ish. Which I'm hoping that they do, which I do hope that they do. Thank the stars, I hope that they do. Because if they do, and they get it right, Nintendo Switch is back on top again. Technically speaking, Nintendo never lost its literally profoundness. It literally never lost its profoundness at all. Literally. The Switch has been literally, and I mean literally, like it's literally been like, nice. Okay, so it what was that? Oh yeah, so it's literally like this. Nintendo really, literally never lost their position in the console wars in my book, due to the fact of that you have PlayStation and you have Xbox. How many of these mother lovers can you take around with you? You can. That is very true that you can. But here's the thing. Here's the kicker. You got to get a bag for it. You got to get a bag that's able to carry your controllers, your console, the cords, your hard drive, and everything else that comes with it. That's a lot. When the Switch, you can just take it out of the dock system and roll out. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are sitting there thinking to themselves, like, what about the camera? What about it? Do you really need the camera for everything? No. You don't. If I'm say for instance, if I'm going to my cousin's house, who also has a Switch 2, if I'm going to my cousin's house to play Smash Bros with him, right? If I'm going to my cousin's house to play Smash Bros with him, I don't have to carry no camera to do that. The frick I look like carrying a camera with me. He gonna ask me what's the camera for. I don't know. I just brought it with me. You see how stupid that sounds? Yeah, that sounds stupid as heck. I promise you, it do. In the eyes of all, that sounds stupid as heck. He gonna call me stupid for that. So technically speaking, it's up to you if you want to get the camera or not. It's really up to any one of y'all if y'all want to get the camera or not. Because let's not forget, it's your money and your wallet. So technically, you have control of what you want to spend. You have control of what you want to get. The only thing to it is, y'all probably don't feel that way due to the fact of it's something that you want. Trust me, this is something that I want too. I've been a Nintendo fan since Jesus Christ, since the very beginning. And I'm a 90s baby. Yes, I am a 90s baby. I am heavily a 90s baby. I was introduced to gaming around what, 4? And ever since then, I've had an interest in it. Because technically speaking, and literally speaking, the people that owned all the consoles was literally like my uncles. And literally for me, watching them play it and then let me play it at the age of 6 literally drove me to the way that I was. And then later on down the line, they realized that, I always go over to their place to play their consoles and stuff like that. And it was like, all right, time to get their own system. And this was around the time when I can't remember who got it for us. I think it was our Uncle David, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe it was our Uncle David. I can't remember who. It was such a long time ago. I cannot remember who. But I do remember when we first got the Nintendo 64. And when we first got the Nintendo 64, it was the first games that I ever played on the Nintendo 64 was Smash Bros, Star Fox 64, and The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Those were my top 3 games, and the most game that I played was Smash Bros. My sister played The Legend of Zelda because she was older than me. Yes, my sisters are older than me, both of them, at that. Um, it was at one point when I want to say I was asleep in the room. This is like some time before, like the Super Smash Brothers and everything else was first brought into my life. This is like we're jumping timelines here. I was a bit older when all this happened. I woke up one day and everybody was up, and it was literally, I want to say, at the very end of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Crazy, big crazy. And it was to a point where when I finally started, like growing up and everything else, I wanted to play The Legend of Zelda due to the fact of you could pick up the sword and then turn into an adult and then put the sword down. And, so I wanted to just do that as a child because I found that so cool. Um, but then later on, as you start to realize that there is a point in playing these games and it's to beat them. I tried beating the game. Lo and behold, I was there. I think I was a bit older. We're jumping timelines again here. When I want to say I first beat The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, it was pretty good feeling. But before that was even beaten, we're gonna go ahead and take a jump backwards here. We're jumping backwards. Um, I remember us. I think Mom had bought The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. One of the most, I want to say that game right there. I hate that it was never part of a timeline. I wish it was because that was so phenomenal in my book. It was the ending that kind of got me for the Deku Butler guy. I hate it for his son. I really do. I really, really do. I hate it. 100% hate it. Kid got caught in the crossfire. Like, I hate it. But we're gonna jump back forward once again. Um, First time I ever received a GameCube. First game that I ever had. Um, well, the first game that I ended up getting for it was literally, and I mean literally, was Smash Bros. Melee, and then there were some other games that came with it. But the first game that I actually ended up owning for it was on Happy Feet. My parents bought me Happy Feet. They literally still thought of me as a child as I was getting older. Trust and believe, I didn't question shit. I didn't question one thing at all. I kept it pushing. Fun game in the end. But that's about. When I think back at that game, I just think, Jesus Christ, that's cringe. But that's why there was Smash Bros. To keep the cringe away. Oh my God. Um, we're gonna take a bit more step forward. So there was a um, there was a time when I first got the Wii, and my cousin Michael got me Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I I loved that game to death. And then after, like during the time being, there was The Legend of Zelda, um, Twilight Princess. My cousin owned that and he beat it. Um, I want to say, what was it? Skyward Sword. That's what it was. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword was literally the Legend of Zelda that I found to be one of the most, and I want to say one of the most best games that I've ever freaking played out of all Legend of Zeldas. And I want to go ahead and let me go ahead and say this because I can feel a lot of fists just clenching up and a lot of people looking at me like, are you fucking crazy? Are you fucking stupid? Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. The reason why I say that game is so phenomenal, I put in hours. I put down Brawl for that game. I spent hours trying to because it was basically telling of how the Master Sword came to be and how many, legends there truly is in time. Now, this was the thing to it. For them to find, the Master Sword like 1800 years later and stuff like that, and, Fi living in the sword and stuff like that, resting, sleeping, and stuff like that, which all makes sense because remember in the Ocarina of Time, the sword just shined for no freaking reason. And then later on down the line, we see, the Master Sword gets broken and destroyed. But the thing is, a lot of people was like, like it's after wear and tear. Remember, Fi is about a good 18,000 years old. I'm pretty sure her powers wasn't keeping up with how she was back then. So yeah, the sword was destroyed. Yeah, the sword was broken. Of course. This is basically saying like, Gojo is the master sword. The master sword was already peak potential as he got, a little older, figured out, like he ain't the shit. A lot of people started figuring out this man ain't the shit. He ain't. He really ain't. That's the reason why he got bodied. R.I.P. my boy Gojo. But but yeah, like the Master Sword, of course there was gonna be a time it was gonna get broken. Of course. Of course. Now, do I agree with the Master Sword getting broken? No, I don't agree with it. I agree that mug should have been titanium steel, mud loving, unable to break type ordeal. Like for real, for real. Excuse me for a second. Okay. Sorry. I had to go get Cheeks. Cheeks was in the way. But but so so literally it like long story short, Nintendo has been there for me through thick and thin, forever and ever, always and always will be. If we're wondering what happened about the Wii U situation, I ended up working two jobs in order to buy a Wii U. Bought a Wii U, was very happy about it, was very proud about it, and later on down the line, ended up, being inside a relationship, pretty toxic at the moment. It had toxic friends, and those toxic friends ended up stealing it and selling it off for money so they could do drugs. It highly upset me to a point that I had to get away from it all, literally. But um uh so so I want to say, Nintendo has always had a purpose in my life and will forever have a purpose in my life. Shout out to Nintendo. I know this ain't no sponsorship, but shout out to Nintendo for always being there for me during my childhood, grown years, all that. Thank you, Nintendo. I really do appreciate you. Now, back onto the subject at hand. Um, it's you guys' money. You can spend it however you want to spend it. It's your choice, nobody else's. Now, the thing that kind of, grabs towards everything in the book is, as I tell people all the time, I understand where you're all coming from with the whole game situation because automatically a physical game for $90 is crazy. But you have to realize that they just built the Nintendo Switch from the ground up and they really, really went back and looked at all of their systems and added features into these systems that you won't find no place else. Literally. The Pro Controller 2 is $79.99. When I sit there and tell you that's still pretty good, considering the fact that for a Xbox controller and a PlayStation, they're sitting at the right price. Sure, they could tone it down just a bit, but I say keep it right where it is. I would be happy to pay $80 for a Pro controller. Don't even get me wrong. Now, the Joy Cons. Let's go ahead and talk about Joy Cons. Now, from what I was told, the two straps that comes with the Joy Cons. So you don't even have the little thing that you slide onto them, or since these are magnet, these aren't the thing that you can just put on them to be magnet or make it feel like a full controller. Give me a second again. Sorry, had a got a cat being racist. So so um so I understand the Joy Cons being darn near $90 because remember the Joy Cons for the Switch was like darn near 70, even though it was like 60. I think it was like 60 something, 70 something, somewhere around that price tag. But for it to be $90 is understandable. These are all brand new Joy Cons and they don't have a slide on attachment. They magnetically stick to the console. It's not slide, it's stick. It's magnetic, which is shockingly amazing to me that they actually pulled that off due to the simple fact of that. Um, how do you get the magnetism not to mess with any of the stuff on the inside? Which is the reason why they given us buy buy the game in order to understand the Switch from the inside. Understandable. Now I know a lot of people is like, that should have been, that should be just a free game feature for us to understand it. Well, that's understandable, but at the same time, these are also questions we could ask the creators. Literally. Now, will they get back with us? Probably not. Probably not. But it all depends on when you ask them. Like if it was me and I was a reporter, I would have been right there at live and sat there, would have been asking all types of questions, writing the ish down as I went, or recording it as I went, and shared the information. But instead of going through that with them, I'm pretty sure there's going to be some official people that's going to be sitting down with them to ask that question, and they give us the answers in a whole nother, live vid or whatever. Because remember, there's supposed to be something else that's being told to us about some other stuff. So we'll probably get the answers that we're seeking sooner than later. But for it to be the way that it is, it's understandable. It's very understandable. Now, the Joy-Con charging grip. Now, I look at the Joy-Con charging grip, and it's literally like $35 and some change, possibly 36 and some change. I would expect that to at least sit at 40. And the reason why, because it's like charging grip. It's basically charging the controller as well. I think. No, that's not how it worked. The way how it worked was that you take the grip and you plug it in, and you wouldn't have to remove your Joy-Cons in order for you to put them on the thing and charge, which once again in my book makes a whole bunch of sense due to the simple fact of that, but like I said, I would have expected that to be at least about 40 to $50. So that's kind of cheap in my book. It's kind of cheap in my book. Oh, wait, so you do have some little things that go on it for the straps to work. Okay, so the thing that really gets me is that from one of the rumors that I heard was that the straps were literally $15. Um, this says $12.99, so which basically means that's going to be 13 and some change, possibly 14 and some change. That's not bad. Y'all making it seem like this itch was going to be 15 and up. No, this is not that bad, and it's understandable too. Remember, folks, these are new Joy-Cons that magnetically stick to the console. It does not slide on, it magnetically sticks. Excuse my voice. Shoot. Wait, the Joy-Con wheels are only $20? That's that sounds about right. But it's set of two. So if it's a set of two, then I feel like that should be a little bit more, possibly around like 20 to $30. And the camera. Now, see, this was the crazy part. Now, there was a rumor saying that the camera was going to be $80. And apparently from on their website, it shows $49.99, which is basically going to be like $50 to $51 and some change. That is not bad. I would rather take that before I take a whole nother price. Like, I don't understand what people see. And then the dock system with the oh my God, the dock set is literally 110 to 111 and some change. That's a steal. We over here complaining. Why? Okay, so the carrying case and screen protector. Now, see that's what I'm liking to see. Now, and it's at a good price. I can't complain. And it's at a good price. Now, the all-in-one carrying case. Now that I would have brought that at least to $69.99, maybe $59.99, $79.99. That's crazy. But it really depends on everything that's carrying. Oh, oh. Okay, well, let me shut the freak up. Because this is literally carrying everything. It's carrying the Joy-Cons, the Pro controller, the dock system, the Switch itself. Literally the Switch itself. Um, It also looks like it has a slot over there for either I want to say the games, maybe. The games, maybe. But yeah, that's understandable because that's literally carrying everything the Switch has, except for the camera. Unless that's it for it. I don't know. It looks like it. But yeah, that's not bad, I guess, now that I see it. And then there's the Switch AC adapter, which is basically $30 to $31. That's not bad, honestly. That's not. And then the micro express card. Now, that really depends on the retailers at that point. We have nothing to do with that. That depends on the retailer. Now, as I said before, Mario Kart World. Give me a second. Sorry. Anywho, Jesus Christ. But so as I said before, so I want to say the top thing that I'm basically excited for is the Metro Prime 4. I want to say Donkey Kong Bonanza, but I don't know. I might skip over that. I'm not even gonna hold you. Mario Kart World, Kirby, Kirby Air Riders, because if anybody remembers Air Ride back then when it first came out, Air Riders is it. Because you have to realize something. Um, if you remember Air Ride, if you remember Sonic Riders and all that, I promise you, if Masahiro Sakurai had a if he would have had a hand in Sonic Rider still would have been alive today. And we ain't talking about the one where they're in vehicles. We're talking about the one where they were on boards, skis, and all that other stuff. Like, bro, the riders that we got now ain't touching the one back then. I'm sorry. Big sorry. But stepping back into, the Kirby Air Riders is definitely something that I'm gonna end up getting. Definitely. Now, the welcome tour for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, as I said before, I understand how many people are saying that that should be a free content. Was Wii Sports free? Yes, it was. Indeed, it was. It came with the Wii, for God's sakes. Now, here's the thing about it though. The Switch Sports, did that come for free? I don't think so. So this tour thing, it was a really hit or miss on the situation. But the price tag for it is probably not even going to be that high. And I'm 100% sure of this. And the reason why I say that now is due to the simple fact of that. So I can understand Kirby Air Riders being a high price, probably like $50 or so, 60. I'm going 60. Metro Prime 4 Beyond, 60, possibly 70 if I'm looking at it, but I'm thinking digital deluxe type ish. Mario Kart World. So I can understand Mario Kart World if it is going to be $90 in physical form, but remember, this is rumored to be that way. I have yet to see any information leading to that case. Because when you actually hit the learn more button to Mario Kart Worlds, it will apparently from what it was showing in this was that it was going to be $79.99. That is what I was seeing from that point of view. Like literally, it says available June 5th, $79.99. And a lot of people, from what the rumor that I heard was that's the digital price. I don't think that's the digital price. The digital price is going to be the same as the physical. If you think about it, why would you be paying cheaper for digital when Xbox and Nintendo, well, not Xbox and Nintendo, but Xbox and PlayStation don't even do that. If I go and buy a physical game, guaranteed I'm still paying the same retail price that I'm buying it for physical as digital. And the reason why I say that is because there are plenty of times that I literally went and bought a game outside of wherever. I could literally go to Walmart and let's say I could buy Star Wars Outlaws, a crappy game indeed. And say, for instance, Star Wars Outlaw just came out. Star Wars Outlaw would have been, what, 60, like 50, $60? And guarantee you I could go on PlayStation Store right now and still go get it for at least 60 to $50 if they haven't add some sort of decrease to it. And do you want to know the reason why? And the reason behind that is due to the simple fact of it's retail. Now, I don't believe that, and excuse my cat in the background. He's just being a kitty. But as I was saying, because that Donkey Kong that's literally in there is literally the Donkey Kong that you see in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Whole new makeover, whole new wardrobe, whole new everything. So, automatically, what I'm getting at is that you're looking at least about 80 something dollars for a game. $80 to $81 for Mario Kart World. Now, here's the thing to it. There's a bunch of features that's coming with the game as well. And you have to realize that this is the first game where you're able to race the total of 24 people. That's 12 on 12. $80 ain't sounding too bad. Because you got to realize something. If this is basically 24 people, think of the tournaments that could go on for this. Think of the tournaments. That's money. That's literally money. Because not only are you knocking out people one by one in a race, but you're also literally putting money on top of money into this. If I was to get the Mario Kart World, the first thing that I would possibly end up doing is getting enough controllers in order for everyone. Well, hell, getting enough controllers. And if we don't have enough controllers, bring your own controller. I don't give a darn. You can bring your own controller, just as long as it's not modded. Because if it's modded, I'm going to have to delete you. But continuing on, if I were to get Mario Kart World, I'd be sure that I have enough controllers for someone to play with. Make sure that people bring their own controllers, just in case you don't want to use one of ours. And, start a tournament. And be sure the tournament is about as big as, these other tournaments, such as Mortal Kombat and everything else, that has like these trophies and these $50,000 wins and everything else. Yes, we need that for Nintendo. We do. Because I feel like Nintendo been getting slept on for these tournaments. And the reason why is because of Smash Bros. And other fighting games. I'm not going to hold you. Smash Bros. Has held up a long line of tournaments. It has. But no one's that great. No one's that great. I'm not even that great. I know I'm not. But yeah, I will hold a tournament. And however much money that I'm willing to put up, probably around like $70K. Because it's Mario Kart World. $70K sounds about right. I would put literally people against each other. Now, I understand what people are talking about. How are you gonna fit 24 people in one freaking room in order to play this? Now, as you've seen how how most tournaments work, they put them at their own little stations and stuff like that across from each other or whatever. They have their own little screens and stuff like that. I could do that, or I could do it via online. You link up to the same server. And then y'all go against each other. You get knocked out. Last person wins, and we'll have to host this around like three individuals. Like literally 3 individuals. Well, actually 12 individuals. There would have to be literally, I want to say, since it is a 24 thing, 24 people in a race, I would say we should drop it down because there's no point of you doing a 24-24 on 24 tournament. It's like to start off, then semifinals, then finals, and it's still 24 people. No. We'll have to cut the race down to people. Once we do the first 24, I need to know how many to knock off. Now, it's 12 people, right? So which means that I will possibly have to do 6-on-6. So the first people that don't make the cut, the first 6 people that don't make the cut is getting cut off. Then after that, we'll do another one for the remaining. And whoever doesn't make it in, 6 people get off. That's 12 people gone already. Then there's the semifinals where there's 12 left. Whoever doesn't make it inside the semifinals, cut. Which means 6 people are left. Whoever doesn't make it out of that 6. Since there's only 6 people, that's 3-on-3, right? So we would have to do this for like 2 sides at this point in order to make it fair. You feel me? Cut. Whoever doesn't make it out of those 6, 3 people will get cut. Those 3 people will move on to the finals. The next 3 people that made the cut will move on to the finals. That makes, I said 6, Jesus Christ. That makes 3-on-3 people, which makes 6 characters in total. Which means out of those 6 people, somebody's walking away with 70K. Now, I get what you're saying. Shouldn't it be down to like only 3 people or only 2 people? Which is understandable, but you have to realize something. This is a race. This ain't no fighting game. This ain't no shooting game. This is a race. 6 people. Out of 6 people, somebody is getting 70K. And somebody is going home with trophies. And somebody is going home with their head down. Just saying. Now, another thing that I wanted to look at was what was it? The Dustblood. Now, Dustblood was literally from the creators of Dark Souls and Elden Ring. If that game isn't at least $70, I'm going to be pissed. And the reason why I say that is because you really have to take a look at it. From the creators of Dark Souls and Elden Ring. They just gave us Elden Ring to the Switch. At this point, that better be, boy, it better be. Now, the new Hades game, I honestly couldn't care. Split Fiction coming to the Switch, that better be at least 60 to 70 to 80 bucks. Not even gonna hold you. Street Fighter 6 coming to the Switch should be at least 50 to 60 bucks because it didn't hit real well on PlayStation, apparently. That's what people were saying, but in all actuality, there's tournaments going on for this. So technically speaking, it was divine in my book. Hogwarts Legacy. Now, Hogwarts Legacy, let me go ahead and explain this. I feel like should have been came to the Switch because you're using wands. What better way to use a wand with a Switch controller? My boy. A little late than, a little bit late coming to the party, but it's here. The Yakuza 0 director's cut, I'm not even gonna hold you. I kind of don't care about it, but I'm glad that it's there. 40 to 50 bucks. Now, Damon Machina. I played that game when the demo first came out. I didn't buy the game though. Only reason why I didn't buy Damon Machina was because of the fact I'm not even gonna hold you. I completely forgot about it. Literally did. Literally. But would I buy this one? Of course. but I would play the first one beforehand. So now for Borderlands 4 to be coming to the Switch, I think that's awesome due to the graphics for the game. Um, and also how it's coming to almost every other console. That's going to be great as well. Huge on Borderlands. Now, this was the thing that kind of, caught my attention when they brought Cyberpunk up. I said Cyberpunk coming to a Switch, which only means one to two things, ladies and gentlemen. The Switch is no longer just this Switch that can't keep up. It's literally on par. It's literally on par with the greats now. It's literally on par, which means that it's kicking tail. Cyberpunk coming to the Switch, 60 to 70 bucks, possibly even 80. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Now, once you think about it, that says Intergrade. That doesn't say just remake, that says Intergrade. That's coming with remake and Intergrade. That's two games in one. So is Cyberpunk as well. So 60, 70 to 80 bucks, yes. The Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4. I know a lot of people was excited about it, as much as I was. That should be 70, 80 to 90 bucks. And I know how y'all looking right now. This man's crazy. No, I'm not crazy. They're crazy for giving us such a good game again. And I know what people are thinking. You don't even know if it's going to be good yet. You're right. I don't. But guess what? You're going to find out. Project 007, 50 to 60 to 70 bucks. I hate to do my boy James Bond like that, but god dang it. Star Wars Outlaws. This was basically the creators of that game trying to reach out and get some more money because they know they failed on this. And the reason why, because so many people have said so many bad things about the game. I have yet to play it because when I first seen like the trailers for it and stuff like that, I wanted to play it. I wanted to. And I still do because I want to get my own feedback about it. So in my book, 50 to 60 bucks. Deltarune, 50 to 60, maybe 40, 50 to 60. Star Seeker, 50 to 60. Kunitsugami, Goodnight Universe, Tamagotchi, Right Owl, 2 Point Museum, Shadow Labyrinth. Okay, so let me go ahead and say Wild Hearts should never, a day in its life, touch the Switch. And the reason why is because they're basically giving y'all a game they never did a part two to. Wild Hearts literally was supposed to have like a part two to it, or it had some sort of update for it or something. It never did get it. That's like taking Anthem and giving it to the Switch. You lost your mind. Literally lost your mind. Don't get me wrong, Wild Hearts is a good game. It just I wish that they came out like EA really need to go back and touch on that. That was such a good game. That literally had the potential to rival Monster Hunter. Yes, I said it. Fight me for it. Um, so oh yeah, and they selling us the Nintendo GameCube Classic controller. Yeah, I'm expecting that to be a high price as well. I'm not even gonna hold you. So the other thing that as I said before, that I did not like, the thing that I did not like was the upgrade packs. Was due to the simple fact of that for me to have to take games that I already own and purchase an upgrade pack for them. I think the upgrade packs should be free. I do believe they should be free due to the fact that literally, and I mean literally, so literally, and I mean literally, is like so literally like how do I put this? I'm just being real when I say this. It literally should be free. It literally should be free. I don't care what anybody says. The upgrade pack should be free. That's that's about all that I honestly wanted to rant about. Is that the pricing to me? A lot of people are rumoring around it to be higher than ever. And the crazy thing too is somebody's probably looking at a scalper site to where they change the prices on them. So when you give them their money, it's a possibility you don't even get what you just paid for back. I need people to stop with the rumors. Nintendo ain't that evil. Nintendo isn't Disney. Now, the reason why I say Disney and all of this, let me explain. Back then, when Disney had, back in its 90s and and backwards, not forward but backwards. So, when there was, Aladdin, and when I say Aladdin, we ain't talking about with Will Smith. We are literally talking about Robin Williams, Aladdin. That Aladdin right there should have never been touched. There are some movies that you guys can possibly remake within Disney. Alice in Wonderland was a very good literary touch. You could have definitely retouched on that due to the fact of it was already psychotically freaking, messed up and traumatizing so many people, even though it was basically, a dream. But really, the truth was, we all know the truth about Disney. We all know the truth. I ain't got to explain this. but but yeah, like on some real life things, Disney screwed up on a lot of their things, such as their movies and stuff like that. It was the fact that there was even a rumor saying that Disney wanted to buy anime so they could ruin it. I don't think so. Hell no. Hell no. They ruined every other game. I said game, and they don't even have one. They ruined every movie that they ever had. The ones that Walt Disney himself worked on, or was like, he approved of this. Those movies, people screwed up, which is basically janked. Disney is losing it. I don't know how else to tell them it, but they're losing it. And I hate to see something of childhood memory as well. Yes, I am a Disney baby, a Nintendo's Disney baby. So you already know what I'm looking for. I am looking for that Kingdom Hearts to step through and take over, baby. Because the moment I even get the slightest bit of word that it comes through and it's taken over, oh yes, guaranteed, my life is given away to Kingdom Hearts. 100%. But as I said before, I'm basically surrounded by Nintendo and Disney. I'm pretty sure you guys are like, how are you surrounded by Nintendo and Disney and you're streaming from a PlayStation? I know, sounds hypocritical. You do. But I still have my Switch to this day. I still play my Switch to this day. And the reason why, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, baby. Now, I'm pretty sure, like everybody's like, wait, Have you even beaten the game yet? I'm pretty sure you've beaten it. No, I haven't. I takes my time. Just like the Breath of the Wild, I took my time in beating that. I took my ever so sweet time. And just like Tears of the Kingdom, I'm gonna ever so take my sweet time to beat the game. Ever so sweet. And the reason why is because some of the towers that I'm trying to like activate, some of them I can't even get into. And some of them I think it's jank because like there's a guy that's like, there's one of them where the guy's like, it's a flower that he's like, I could definitely go for this certain type of flower that you can find down the hill. I go down the hill, I get these flowers, I bring it to him, I can't even serve it to him. It's kind of crazy in my book. So, I'm just like, it could be bugged. So, other than that, that's all that I really want to, rant about. And, hopefully everyone's enjoying their day. Hopefully everybody's having a great time. Sorry that this rant took at least 56 minutes of everyone's time, but I had to basically get this out because if not, I would have been hearing rumor after rumor after rumor after rumor. And I ain't got time for none of that. So let me go ahead and put the speculations and everything else to rest. The physical game and the digital game is going to be $79.99 as far as I can see through their website. And that's Nintendo's website. And the price tags for some of the things that are basically saying that the camera is $80, no, the camera is 50 to 51. You can literally get the Mario Kart World bundle with the Switch 2 for $500. Because if you realize the Switch 2 itself is going to be 450 or 451, which isn't bad for just the Switch 2. But with the game as well, $500? Come on now. That's technically saying that the game is literally $60. Come on now. Come on. Other than that, you know, that's all I had to say. Sorry this took up about 57 minutes of your time, but I do hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. I hope you enjoy your Saturday, and I hope you enjoy your Sunday. Now, Sunday I'll be working, but Saturday I'll be here. I'll probably be streaming on Monster Hunter World. Well, not World, but Wilds here. Be streaming Wilds on Twitch. So if you want, you can definitely go watch me on Twitch if you like. Will I have a link in the description below? I probably will. Maybe. But if not, you can definitely just go watch me at young_evo777. Other than that, I do appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully, y'all find this useful and informative. I know I did a lot of ranting, but hey, I digress. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will catch y'all in the next one. And remember, no one out there loves you. I love you.